The battlecruiser Varco's Eternal drifted silently through the ethereal mists of the nebula. It moved like a wounded predator, its hull deeply scarred from a recent, brutal skirmish with pirate marauders. But today, the ship's mission was not one of combat. It was a mission of diplomacy, or perhaps a mission of terror. Inside the shimmering, expansive observation bay, a dozen alien diplomats waited in a tight, nervous silence. Their forms were varied and strange. Some were crystalline, others insectoid. Some were just shimmering clouds of sentient gas, but their anxiety was a universal language. Today was the day they would finally witness the galaxy's most dangerous creature, a being whispered about in hushed, fearful tones across 1,000 star systems. They knew him by his many terrifying titles. Drath'Korr, the devourer of suns, the bane of the 10 systems, the dragon of the void, or, as the humans apparently called him, Mr. Fluffy. Ambassador Killerun, a crystalline being whose body refracted light like a living, anxious prism, vibrated with a nervous hum. Captain Lorn, are you certain you wish to proceed with this demonstration, tis creatur? It has extinguished entire fleets with a single breath. Captain Mara Lorn, a human woman with tired eyes and an unshakable calm, simply shrugged. It was a gesture of such maddening, casual confidence that it sent a fresh wave of dread through the alien delegation. Honestly, he's pretty chill, she said. Just don't wave anything shiny near him. He thinks it's a treat. The aliens exchanged looks of sheer, unadulterated terror. The idea of offering a treat to a creature that feasted on stars was beyond comprehension. A heavy blast door at the far end of the bay groaned open, a sound like a dying giant. A wave of intense heat poured into the chamber, feeling like the very breath of a star. And then he entered. The dragon was a sight of both terrible beauty and unimaginable power. His scales were the color of molten gold, shimmering with embedded stardust. His wings, vast and ethereal, seemed woven from the fabric of the cosmos itself, and his eyes burned with the ancient fire of dying galaxies, even restrained by a powerful, humming gravitic field. He radiated an aura of power that felt like a living supernova. The diplomats staggered backward as one. Ambassador Killerun let out a high-pitched squeak, his crystalline form flickering frantically. He's looking directly at me. Oh, that means he likes you, Captain Lorn said with a bright, entirely unhelpful smile. Or he's just checking if you'd fit in his mouth. Honestly, it's hard to tell sometimes. The aliens froze solid, their various appendages and sensory organs locked in a state of paralysis. A thunderous, earth-shattering rumble shook the deck as Drath'Korr dragged his massive tail across the floor, the sound like a burning chain being pulled from the heart of a volcano. His colossal maw creaked open, revealing fangs as long as the hull plates of a starship. His growl wasn't just a sound, it was a vibration that seemed to warp reality itself, a low-frequency hum that made your very atoms want to fly apart. And then, cutting through the palpable dread, came the most horrifying sound of all. "Mommy, I want to see Fluffy." It was a tiny human voice, high-pitched, unbelievably cheerful, and completely, utterly unaware of the impending, galaxy-ending doom standing just a few meters away. Before anyone could react, a small human, child girl no older than 5 Earth years, darted through the legs of the startled crew members and scampered directly toward the dragon. She was a flash of pink in a jumpsuit covered in cartoon stars, clutching a worn-out stuffed animal under one arm. The diplomats collectively screamed, a cacophony of shrieks, hisses, and terrified chitters that echoed through the bay. "Lila, wait." Captain Lorn lunged forward, her casual demeanor finally shattering. But it was too late. The child was already sprinting toward a creature of cosmic-scale danger with the reckless, fearless confidence that only a human toddler could possibly possess. The dragon's molten eyes widened. Was it surprise? Hunger? No one could tell. One by one, the diplomats fainted, their systems overloaded by pure terror. Lila skidded to a halt right in front of the dragon. She planted her tiny hands on her hips, puffed out her chest, and shouted with all her might, "Fluffy, sit!" And to the absolute, mind-breaking horror of every conscious alien present, the dragon obeyed. The devourer of suns, the bane of the 10 systems, folded his colossal legs under him, settling onto the deck with the gentleness of an obedient pet. His cosmic wings tucked neatly against his back, and the searing temperature in the chamber dropped by several degrees. Ambassador Kilrin, who had miraculously remained conscious, whispered in a trembling voice, "Why is he listening to her? Is she some sort of human warlock? A psychic overlord?" Captain Lauren pinched the bridge of her nose, letting out a long, weary sigh. She gave him snacks once, a whole bag of dehydrated fruit crisps. Now he thinks she's his mother. Before anyone could fully process this galaxy-breaking, paradigm-shattering revelation, the child took another step forward. She stood directly in front of the monster's muzzle, a snout that had incinerated moons. She reached up with both hands, grabbed the burning nose, giggled, and then smooch. A big, loud, slobbery toddler kiss, planted right on the nose of the deadliest apex predator in known space. The dragon rumbled, but it wasn't a growl of anger. It was a deep vibrating purr, a sound so powerful that the ship's grav plates winced under the strain. His massive tail, once a weapon of mass destruction, curled around protectively, its cosmic flames, which normally crackled with lethal intensity, now glowing with a soft, warm, golden light. He exhaled a gentle plume of warm air, just enough to ruffle the little girl's hair. The remaining conscious aliens collectively leaned back, as though they were watching reality itself crack and splinter before their eyes. Ambassador Kilrun whispered, his voice filled with awe and disbelief. She touched him. She kissed him. And she still lives. Captain Lauren shrugged again, her casualness returning. Humans imprint weird. Drath'Korr nuzzled the tiny human, a gesture of immense affection, incredibly careful not to incinerate her on the spot. Lila squealed with delight, hugging a single giant nostril as if it were the floofiest plush toy in the universe. Good Floofy, who's the bestest dragon in the whole galaxy? You are. Yes, you are. The galaxy-ending monster wagged his tail. Gee, shwag, eh? The sound of it thumping gently on the deck was the final blow to the diplomat's already shattered worldview. One of them, a six-eyed Valorian, who had been trembling uncontrollably, finally found his voice. Humanity commands creatures beyond nightmare, through affection, through kisas. That's about right, Mara said cheerfully. Another diplomat, a gelatinous blob from Cygnus X1, croaked. Does the human child plan to weaponize this creature? Lila, overhearing them, proudly held up her stuffed animal. Nope. I'm gonna teach him to play fetch. Drath'Korr let out a roar of eager, joyous excitement, a sound that shook the very nebula outside the ship. Kilrin fainted again. Captain Lauren sighed, a small smile playing on her lips. You'll get used to it. Humans are terrifying, but in the weirdest possible way. As the little girl began to climb onto the dragon, snout and Drath'Korr lifted her gently like a living golden throne that diplomats could only stare frozen in a state of profound awe and existential fear. They were finally beginning to understand the ancient warning whispered across the stars for eons. Do not mess with the humans, not because of their weapons or their fleets, but because of their children and the monsters who love them. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another adventure from the far reaches of the galaxy. See you next time.